Hello everybody out there and welcome to round number 2 of the New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge 2020. Tonight from South City Chicane route, I'm Peter Butcher and joining me in the commentary box is Eoin Harmon. We should get Chris Ford along later, but hi Eoin.
Hi Pete, how are you keeping?
Pretty good. I'm really looking forward to tonight's action. Are you looking forward to another sensational round of TBO racing in Live Speed?
You bet. Like after West Hill 2 weeks ago, this is bound to be something quite special. It's a huge test for every driver out there, whether at the front or the back of the grid. Should
Absolutely, be fun. Yeah, totally. Let's bring the audience up to speed with where we're at in the season. Obviously, last time out was round number 1. Today we're at round number 2 of 6 in the main championship. Then we'll have the post-season endurance race at Aston North. So round number 2 today, kicking off in around about 14 minutes time for the 2-shot qualifying that we have here in the TBO Challenge. Let's have a look at how things stand in the driver standings. First, let's go through the entries. We've got an absolutely packed grid of drivers who are attending these races week in, week out. As you can see on your screen right now, we've got a lot of different teams in attendance, a lot of different nationalities, which is awesome to see. And yeah, hopefully another great attendance this week. Lots to look forward to. Some new faces have signed up for this race, notably Pavel Sina, who has joined the ranks of Chad Esports with Isaac Price and Vitalis Lagutskas, so definitely want to look out for him. Very talented driver from Poland joining that team. Some other notable names returning. We've got Patrick Hall for Race Green also joining us this time out. So look out for all these new names and also the returning names from the past couple of rounds. Back to the race tonight, we have a 20-minute qualifying session, which is 2-shot, followed by an 18-lap sprint race and a 30-lap feature race around the 2.9 kilometre, 1.8 mile South City Chicane route layout with low wind. Your race director this evening is Jonathan Prevost from New Dimension Racing. And as always in the Turbo Trophy, TBO Challenge, we have the XRT, the RB4 and the FXO. 5 of the drivers tonight will be running success ballast, and we'll go over that just before the start of the race. There are 5 drivers with that added weight on their cars, starting at 20 kilos and going down to 4 kilos in 4 kilogram increments. So that should shake things up at the front of the pack and maybe mix things up a little bit, Eoin, as the races progress.
Yes, with South City, you've got the massive long straight to begin the lap. We could see some of the other drivers without ballast. They could make some gains. Then into the other half of the track, it's a totally different challenge for the drivers with a tight chicane around the car park and some very tight corners to complete the lap.
In the drivers' standings, leading the way with 474 points, it's Isaac Price from Chad Esports. Then it's Pauli Peltikangas, Kaike Paroppo and Sean Lee. Oscar Hardwick, those 5 drivers putting in a stellar performance last week. They will be the drivers carrying the success ballast in this event. Then it's Yoni Katila, Prismek Vadoviarts, Vitalis Lagutskas, Jeremiah Stanella, Daniel Balla, Katal Krorkin and Nika Patola rounding out the top 12. There you can see the other 12 drivers at the top of the championship after one round. And yeah, Isaac Price already with a 5-point lead over Pauli Peltikangas, but anything can change. There's lots of points on offer, 2 races, and lots of strategy that's going to come into play throughout this event. And let's turn our focus to the team standings. And there are lots of teams as well. Chad Esports lead the way, 182 points clear of Team Sidus. World Class Lions a further 40 or so points behind. Energy Virtual Racing in P4, Born to Race P5, Race Green Autosports in P6, Air Attack Newsroom Racing P7, Ford Rally Esports in P8, Magento WRT in P9, Conquest Racing P10, Subaru Technica International in P11, and Last Lap Motorsports in P12. A great turnout for teams, and yeah, hope to see some different names, different teams getting up in the mix at South City. Anything can happen on this track, Eoin. It's tight and technical. There's barriers instead of runoffs. So there's going to be thrills and spills throughout both the races this evening, I'm sure, especially on the run down to turn 1. What do you make of that?
If it was me in the driver's position, I'd be absolutely terrified. You've got the slight left to begin the lap, so it's not necessarily a flat-out sprint to the right-hander. But I certainly do expect drivers that will want to be on top of the leaderboard to take a risk. If it pays off, brilliant. But if it doesn't, then they could find themselves way down the order.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have around about 9 minutes to go before the start of the qualifying session. And last time out was a very dominant display by Chad Esports. They had both cars at the front of the race for race number 1, the sprint race, but then it didn't go all their way in race 2 with Vytautas Lagutskas running out of fuel actually on the penultimate lap and having to pit for a splash and dash. And he came back further down the grid, and Isaac Price won that second race. But yeah, it was very enjoyable to watch, and hopefully we get some of the same today. Eoin, do you think it's going to be more difficult or less difficult for some of the drivers to overtake or maybe get past in the partially reverse grid's second race?
As you said, with the barriers, you won't be able to necessarily stick your nose down the inside or the outside and find any forgiveness should you make that decision. But I'd say more drivers will be susceptible to picking up damage and maybe needing to pit for repairs. So it won't necessarily be a overtaking fest on the track, but it could be a battle of strategy if people need to pit or if they're going to try and go as far as they can before they change tires or get extra fuel in. That'll be my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think the run down to turn 1 is especially important, and once you've navigated turn 1, it's not over because the chicane is so difficult around this lap. You've got the really off camber downhill left, and then you have to get the car settled as the track bottoms out, and then you have to thread it through the unforgiving barriers. Any contact there with the wall and someone gets sent onto the outside for the exit of the chicane, there could be a big pile up. So hopefully people have got their wits about them, their tyres up to temperature on the roll-up lap, because obviously in the TBO challenge we do a warm-up lap, the drivers take their position on the grid, and then we do a manual start with some extra lights to get the race underway from a roll-up lap, which is a little bit different, something we're not used to seeing, but it definitely adds to the spectacle.
Indeed, yeah. And there's just a bit of breaking news from race control. Cathal Corkin, the number 86, has actually withdrawn from today's event. He did not pre-qualify, and that means we have 37 entrants.
37 entrants is still a fantastic grid size.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I think some of the drivers will be happy with that news, and some of them will be less happy, because 37 cars around this tight and twisty track is going to be an absolute spectacle, as I said before. But yeah, shame to lose Cathal. He did quite well last week, and he's definitely up there in the standings. So that'll be a big blow to his championship, the Irish driver. So yeah, 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go until we get the two-shot qualifying underway. Drivers will have to make their way to the end of the pit lane, where they'll be held for around about 2 minutes, if they choose to leave the pits, that is. Last time we saw a lot of different ways that people approached qualifying, most notably Isaac Price leaving it very late to set both of his laps, and some drivers leaving it too late, notably Sean Lee, who went out for an early lap, got a lap in, and then decided that he would leave only about 2 minutes before the red lights came on at the end of the session, and he actually missed his final attempt. He still got a good result out of the race weekend, but yeah, that really hampered him, didn't it?
Yeah, certainly did. But at least if the driver realizes there's a problem, they can come back and try again, as long as they did not set a full hot lap. So hopefully the drivers will be a bit more lenient with their compatriots today. We don't want to see too much carnage because of I want this track position instead of you. That would be unfortunate.
Definitely. Before we get going for this evening's action, I want to remind everybody out there that we are on social media. We're on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all of the video on demand from our broadcasts. We'd appreciate a subscription over there. You can follow us or subscribe to us on Twitch to get notifications of when we go live and also to join in the chat festivities. And we're on Facebook and Twitter, posting whenever we go live and the sorts of shows we've got coming up. So if you use any of those things, please feel free to follow and subscribe to us on those services. We'd really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. So yeah, Eoin, I think the TBO challenge last time out was a resounding success. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy. But obviously today, with the inclusion of the success ballast, this is a bit of an unknown, or an unknown for quite a number of years. I wonder how much 20 kilograms of weight on Isaac Price's car is going to affect that XRT off the start, during the sprint race, and obviously during the feature race. I mean, Isaac's such a talented guy that I don't think, he was saying before the event that he reckoned it would cost him maybe a tenth and a half, 2 tenths, but judging by his pace at the beginning of both races last week, I reckon that might be enough to maybe drop him down the order a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, he could certainly be swallowed up, but he has to have an absolutely perfect race if he's going to live up to his billing of being only 1.5 tenths down on his personal best. But definitely he'd be the man to beat. But if he gets even more success, then absolutely the success ballast will then it wouldn't phase him. But I'd say other people will realize, oh, we really got to change our game and beat this guy.
So qualifying is beginning on the server in just now actually. So we'll take you to the track and we'll get everything underway. I think the drivers are going to line up at the end of the pit lane. Let's take everyone.
Oh my goodness me. Zanella bumped into John Palmer's car by accident, but he's going to probably get another chance.
So yeah, all the cars lining up at the end of the pit lane, waiting to go out. That's one of the Gum Garage cars actually at the beginning, I think, there, Eoin. Waiting to go out.
I'll verify who that is.
So yeah, when the clock ticks down, it should be around 20 minutes, the drivers will be allowed out onto the circuit. It looks like we've got a big queue of cars down there. And 1 minute to go before we see the green lights appear at the end of the pit lane, and this qualifying session will be underway. For those of you who haven't seen a two-shot qualifying session before, the way it works is that the drivers are allowed to do 2 flying laps. They can do them on the bounce, or they can break them up. They can do 1 out lap, 1 hot lap, spectate or pit, and do 1 out lap, 1 hot lap, or they can do an out lap and 2 hot laps on the bounce. Eoin, what would you choose around South City?
I would fear the traffic element to this kind of qualifying. Loads of people want to have a particular rhythm. So I would personally go for 1 lap, pit, and then try again rather than trying consecutive.
So there on the left side of your screen, you can see that Isaac Price will be carrying 20 kilograms of success ballast in his XRT. The championship leader, Botsi, will be carrying 16 kilos, Paoli Peltikangas. Chicane Paroppo, who isn't here today, we don't think. He should have been here carrying 12 kilos of success ballast as the pit lane opens and the cars make their way out onto the track. Sean Lee will be carrying 8 kilograms of success ballast and Oscar Hardwick 4 kilograms. The rest of the drivers will be unrestricted besides the mandatory air intake restriction on their cars. 6% for the FXO, 2% for the XRT, and nothing for the RB4. Let's see what's going out on the track as everyone makes their way around. Over in the Teams Championship, obviously, we've got Chad Esports leading the way. Team side has Stonewall Class Lions. There's a lot of points on offer today, and surely we're going to see Some shake-ups, because South City always gives us shake-ups.
Yeah, agreed, Pete. I'm just watching Lucas Wilson. He was at the top of the queue, and he actually briefly had a battle of wits with Jeremiah Stanella. He's back at the very, very front. So that's just the mentality you need to be around South City. You want to be the alpha on the track rather than letting other people decide what you have to do.
And on Nico Pintola's number plate this week, it's your turn to be greeted by him, shall we say.
Yeah, I'll take a look properly now.
Nico Pintola in the RB4 did very well last week.
Yes.
Got swallowed up a little bit, and hopefully I think the RB4 might be quite strong here.
Yeah, if you can keep the sliding to a minimum, as long as the walls have a bit of space between you. Like I can see a bit of a slide from Nico now.
Tire warming a
To
little
warm
bit.
up his tires,
Yeah.
but if you can keep it calm throughout this last corner, you don't want to power slide when you need to hammer on the throttle. He should be okay. But yeah, I would fancy a stable setup to get the job done today.
Well, let's see how he goes. He's just coming around to start his first timed lap. Of course, he gets 2 of those today. Let's see how he does on his first attempt in the RB4. Streaks across the red flag line there and across start finish, and begins his lap through this tight and twisty first left and right. We don't really call these corners. A little bit of contact on the wall there. Get very, very sideways onto the braking zone for turn 1. We've got some lap times coming in already, Eoin.
Yeah.
Andre Araujo actually setting the pace with a 1:15.77 in his XRT there.
It's a great job. But Widowers, that's Premjek Widowers goes fastest with 1:15.16. Big priority there. Set the standard.
That's a big advantage. That's 0.6 of a second more than, in fact.
Yeah.
And Chanturia there, great attempt to get close to Vidoviart's in his FXO. Just under a 10th off. As Velinov goes onto provisional pole then. It's all happening.
That breaks into the 1:14s.
Yeah, we haven't seen any RB4s out yet. There we go. There's Tressida, P11 at the moment. The first RB4 to set a lap time. Ayub El Hanouni, XRT on provisional pole. Daniel Balla as well. This is great, seeing XRTs having a bit of a challenge at the front. Normally it's an FXO fest around South City, but the XRT clearly strong, but really close at the front.
Yeah, and then Nico Pintola about to cross the line. And what's his time? He must have reset, I think. It's not a full hot lap, I apologize.
Adam Brown's actually joining Nico in the Subaru team. He's driving a more traditional blue and gold RB4.
Sweet.
So Nico has a teammate this week, which is great. Adam normally drives for TC Racing, but he's joining Nico in Subaru this week for this series actually. As Adam goes the fastest of the RB4 times, P9 with a 1:15.48, some 0.7 of a second off the leading XRT of Ayub El Hanouni for Born to Race. Here's one of the Angry Angus cars, one of the bright green and yellow cars. Great,
it certainly stands out.
It does, definitely. A couple of drivers representing from Angry Angus Racing in this series. Jared Mead and Reg LeBlanc, both Canadian.
And Nico Pantola actually goes second. He's tied with El Hanui for pole position. Very
That's
impressive.
a super lap there from Nico Pantola. We haven't seen Isaac Price out on track yet, nor have we seen Oscar Hardwick or Sean Lee. So the championship leaders are taking their time. They don't want to go out in this mad rush. 21 drivers have already set a time. We're expecting to see 16 more times on that list. Owen, it's crazy the amount of drivers we've got here today. As yeah, we're watching Nico Pantola finish his flying lap, his second flying lap, in fact.
Yeah, he prefers going back to back if he has the space, and why not?
Yeah, let's see what it is. This is his final attempt in qualifying. Currently P2 for the Finnish driver. Heads across the red flag line and hugging the wall to the start finish, and he's taken pole position provisionally. What a lap by Nico Pantola.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant effort there. 1:14.62, and that puts him ahead of Ehub El Hanouni by 14 hundredths of a second. LLM Sobis, or Motojutis, is doing some tyre warming on his outlap.
I see Oscar Hardwick is about to set a first lap time.
Okay, let's see what it is. Oscar Hardwick also driving an RB4, remember, in this championship. So we expect to see him somewhere near Nico Pantola. He was battling quite a lot with Nico in the West Hill round, in round 1. But Oscar was stronger. Nico wasn't really able to stay with Oscar. Oscar returning to Live for Speed after quite a hiatus. Not seen him around for a number of years, but great to see him in the TBO Challenge. And doing very well as well. Here comes Motojutis. He's coming across the start-finish line to finish his outlap. And he'll begin a flying lap now. Very, very deep into the hairpin. He braked a little bit late there. Slight lock-up as well. So this is going to be kind of a banker lap for him, I think. Whether he decides to stay out and do another lap is, well, yet to be seen. As Oscar goes P4, Owen.
Nice job, yeah. And
nice
Isaac
lap.
Price leaves the pits.
Okay, so with 11 minutes remaining, Isaac's decided now is the time to go out on the track. Once, well, we've got 26 times on the board, so we're still expecting another 11. Isaac being one of those, obviously, for Chad Esports. As you can see now, as Motojutis threads this XRT through the chicane, getting all very sideways there. This is not an optimal line, so I don't expect this to be a particularly fast time. Maybe doing a little bit of tyre warming to maybe line himself up for another hot lap, but I'm not sure what to expect. I think maybe this will be a banker and he'll go back to the pits potentially and reassess and go out for another attempt later on in the session. Let's see where he goes. Cross start finish line he comes, and he goes 25th with that attempt, so yeah, he won't be happy with that. But it looks like he's committed for another attempt. Yep. Reg LeBlanc then, P23 at the moment for Angry Angus Racing. He's on another lap. Eoin Catilla also out on track now as well. Showed quite a lot of promise last time out, but it kind of came undone in the endurance race, the feature race. It was a little bit of a scrappy start for Eoin in the feature race, and yeah, ended up not being a particularly good result for the World Class Lions driver. He's on an outlap, beginning a flying lap now.
Perel Sina goes into pole position, just 300s clear of Nico Pantola.
And he's also leaving the pits to start his second flying lap as well. So doing 2 individual laps, but yeah, 300ths of a second ahead of Nico Pantola. That's how close the cars are here today. We've got an FXO on provisional pole, an RB4 in P2 and an XRT in P3. Awesome. Balance of performance working well. Pavel Cena, your provisional pole man in the rather fetching pink and blue bubblegum looking Chad Esports car.
Yeah, the Bugs Bunny sort of big Chungus meme right on the bonnet as well. It looks like his teammate Isaac Price is going to merge right behind him. Watch your mirrors.
Yeah, Isaac's on a lap. As Cena hits the wall, that's not an ideal preparation for your lap, is it, really? But anyway, yeah, Isaac is on a lap and he's about to finish an out lap, I think. Or is he on a lap? I think he might be on a lap.
This is his lap, yeah.
Yeah. As Gabor goes into provisional pole, 400ths clear of Cena, so good effort that from Gabor. The number 23, here comes Isaac Price. What's it going to be? Remember, he's running 20 kilograms of success ballast, but it doesn't matter because he's taken provisional pole.
What can
Is there really any surprise? I mean, what a lap there. 20 kilograms on board, 1:14.42, boom. Over a tenth clear of the nearest FXO. Is there anything that can stop Isaac Price? Well, there's plenty of this session left, 7.5 minutes to go as one of the Sidus cars there moves out the way. I think that's Pali Peltikangas. And Isaac's doing 2 laps on the bounce here. Hits the wall a little bit, and he's aborted, so maybe he will try and do another one. We'll have to wait and see. You are allowed. You're only allowed to leave the pits twice. But as long as you don't cross the line twice on 2 hot laps, you can abort and start again. So Isaac gets one more attempt, as TBO Soini now in the RB4 is out on track. Yet to set a lap time, leaving it quite late in the session. Always one of the more cautious or one of the more careful drivers, TBO Soini. Great driver. Leaving it quite late in the session to set his first lap. Doing a bit of tyre warming.
Yeah, have to be a perfect pair of laps, I'd say.
Here comes Oscar.
Very little time.
Oscar's currently in P8, so Nico Patola currently has the edge on him. But Oscar looks like he's on a good lap. Let's see what he can do in the RB4. Rounds the final corner, just the straight to go.
I think this is his out lap, so he'll be ready to go.
He's absolutely on one. Yeah, there we go. So on an out lap then. My mistake. Isaac Price waiting patiently in the pits. Yeah, that was a good turn one there from Oscar. Absolutely solid. Very sideways there. It is a rally car, so can't be too surprised, but is it an optimum line in qualifying? We'll wait and see. Bit of a clip on the entry to the chicane. Nice smooth exit though. Just one corner to go. Well, one braking zone to go.
Trolled oversteer, but on the curbs quite heavily.
Yeah, a little bit wide at the apex, but let's see what the lap ends up being. He's dropped down to P9. Chanturia has gone ahead. So has Pali Peltikangas now. Pali Peltikangas only 100ths of a second, off of Isaac Price, as Yoni Katilla takes the pole position away from Isaac with 200ths of a second gap. The gap at the front is unbelievably close. Yeah, and Oscar doesn't improve on that attempt. But Yoni Katilla, what a lap in the FXO. Not running any success ballast here today. But yeah, showing what he's made of, certainly. And Isaac has finally decided to leave the pits with 4.5 minutes to go to do his final out lap and final hot lap of the session.
Sean Lee on track extremely late yet again.
Oh, he likes leaving it late. I mean, the out lap's not as long here. I think he's got plenty of time to do his 2 laps, but he's left himself no margin for error again.
The factor of people in the way, I don't think it's so bad now. People are satisfied or have spent their 2 laps.
Yeah,
So Sean will get a clean run.
we have
It's all up to him.
36 times on the board now, so most drivers have done at least 1 lap. And yeah, the track is definitely clearing up, and we have a showdown then. Can Isaac get that pole position, take that pole position away from Yoni Katila, his old teammate?
Sean did go 12th with lap number 1, so he can try one more time.
Riding on board with Isaac Price for Chad Esports as he rounds the last corner and puts his foot firmly on the throttle, spools up the turbo to start a final hot lap in this 2-shot qualifying session in the New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge, round 2 from South City Chicane route. Across the red flag line, across start finish we go, and he'll point his car straight through this chicane. Nice tight entry, no margin to the wall on either side. It's so smooth, isn't it, to watch him drive. Perfect braking, barely any lockup, barely any tyre squeal, perfect apex. Don't want to get on that curb, unsettles the car. Nicely out to the wall there, and now this long run down the freeway overpass towards the very tricky chicane part of the lap, the section that gives the circuit its name. Super smooth on the brakes, no sign of any loss of control. Slight lift on entry, perfect exit. Final braking zone for Isaac Price. This is a strong lap, super smooth. You won't see anyone driving the XRT as well as this today. This is an absolutely blinding lap. One more straight to go. Can he do it? He can, and it's by 300ths of a second. Can you believe it? These margins are unbelievable. Absolutely amazing lap there from Isaac Price to go 300ths of a second quicker than an FXO without any success ballast. Sensational stuff. Pauli Peltikangas in P3. He's on his final attempt as Sean Lee leaves the pits on his final attempt, and he's only just got enough time to get around. Sean Lee has left it very late again. No chicanes to be cut this time for Sean. No shortcuts.
Again, if he does prove us wrong, that's a big boost for him. He loves putting on a show for the crowd, even if it means that he has to ruffle a few feathers. He'll do it.
Absolutely. I think he'll be one of the last cars to cross the line on his final flying lap. We will see. He's doing quite a bit of tyre warming. He's only got 50 seconds to get round, but I think he'll make it with about 15 seconds to spare or so. But anyway, let's see how Pauli manages. Pauli is...
right on the start finish.
Yep. Currently P3. Only 600 separates him from Isaac Price. Can he get that provisional pole? He can, by 200. The margins are unbelievable, Owen.
This is sensational stuff.
This really is the cream of the crop in Live for Speed at the moment. The driving standards and the speed and the accuracy that we're seeing in this qualifying session is some of the best we've seen in years. As Sean Lee, currently P12, in an important lap here. He's hit the wall on the entry to turn 1. That's not been too good. He managed to get the apex though, as he heads out onto the back straight now. Sean Lee driving for Air Attack Newsroom Racing, heavy on the brakes, little bit of pickup of the throttle mid-corner. He does drive with a mouse, remember, so a little less smooth on throttle application and braking, but a beautiful chicane nonetheless. A little bit wobbly on the exit, but let's see what he can manage. P12 at the moment, P13 actually now. Someone has bumped him down. Yeah, it was an okay exit, a little bit wide on the apex, but let's see. if he can improve. He's currently 7/10 off of Pauli Peltikangas' pole time. As we head to start finish, the clock is on 0, and it's an improvement, but only by 1 position for Sean Lee. He goes up to P12 with a 14.95. And I believe, Owen, that wraps up the session.
Yeah, that looks like everyone has locked in their best time.
Well, that was a fantastic qualifying session. The pole time changed so many times. First Pavel Sina had it, then Joni Katila had it, then Isaac had it, and finally Pauli Peltikangas with a stunning final lap in his FXO sets a 1 minute 14.35 to take pole position for the sprint race here for round 2 of the New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge, followed by Isaac Price, Joni Katila, Pavel Sina, Gabor, Nick Bantola, Eobel Hanuni, Chantaria, Oscar Hardwick, Jeffin Jacob, Daniel Balla, Sean Lee, Velenov, President Vadoviarts, Timur Soini, Michael Malek, Adam Brown, Andrea Araujo, Mihail Velikov, and David Godge round out the top 20. Of the 37 times, or 36 times that were set during this session. Epic stuff. As the drivers make their way out for a final bit of practice.
Yeah, and the standard bearers from round 1 are back on top again for round 2. The others will be a bit concerned about that.
Absolutely, I don't know. I think Pavel Sina is one to watch here. He has no success ballast starting in P4. Gabor also with no success ballast. Let's take a look at those numbers again to see what we've got in terms of success ballast for the drivers then. Isaac Price with 20 kilograms, Pauli Peltikangas running 16, Chicane not here today, Sean Lee with 8, and Oscar Hardwick with 4. These were the championship standings going into this round. The top 20 drivers shown there on the left of your screen. But yeah, we've got quite a race in prospect here for the, what is it, a 19 laps sprint race, 18 lap sprint race, followed by a 30 lap feature race here this afternoon. And yeah, a couple of minutes to go before we will be all set and ready for the rolling out lap, where the drivers will do one warm-up lap. They'll pull up onto their assigned grid spots, and we will do a manual green flag for the start of a standing start for both races. Something very unique to the TBO Challenge. Yeah, I don't remember seeing a qualifying session that went that close. The margins that the drivers were beating each other by were absolutely astonishing, Owen. I think we were given quite a treat there.
Yeah, and if you look down the order, you can see 12 drivers or 13 were within the 1 minute 14s, and then a further, I think 13 or 14 were in the 1:15s. That's really impressive for a track that can punish any mistake.
Yeah, I mean, how many drivers were inside a second? I think you have to look quite a way down the order, outside the top 20 to see anyone outside of the top second. And yeah, I just think to have the top 3 within half a tenth is absolutely amazing, considering there's 2 classes up there. The top RB4 is in P6. Nika Bentola with an absolutely stunning lap there to be 2/10 off the top drivers in the RB4. I did expect to see the RB4 maybe slightly more competitive than that, but it is a 2-shot qualifying. It's really difficult to get a perfect lap in, I think. So yeah.
Well, it's all about the race at the end of the day. If you can keep the car well and truly planted and avoid any mistakes, then I think you have a good chance.
Absolutely. I think we should have a word with one of the drivers. Let's have a chat
That's
to
correct.
number 20, Lucas Wilson. Hi, Lucas.
Hello.
How did your qualifying session go? How would you rank that in your qualifying sessions that you've done to date?
First lap, I went in a deep, I think in about 2 corners, so I just focused on finishing that lap. And then second lap, when I was starting it, someone was coming out of pit entry, which distracted me a little bit and went into the wall. So I knew that I wasn't possibly going to get a better lap time than my first one, but still, I think I got pretty close to my personal best. So I don't rank it as a really bad qualifying session, because even if I did do a personal best, I think I would have still been in the same position anyway.
Yeah, well, you had a decent session anyway. Where did you finish? I can't quite remember. I haven't got the list up in front of me.
I think I qualified in P35, but I don't know how many people are starting from pit lane.
I don't have those numbers right now, but yeah, P35. I mean, in a sprint race where you've got all these cars thundering down to turn one, you might find that that's quite a good position to start the race in. What do you think?
I can see what you mean by that, because a few drivers might get caught out in traffic, and with us being further behind, it might actually give us a bit of space to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you're starting in P35 at all. I think you're starting quite a lot higher up than that.
Yeah, I'm probably guessing about P32 or something.
Sounds like we've got 5 cars starting from the pit lane, so yeah, you're definitely not starting in P35.
P30 then.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there. And yeah, it looks like the grid is being set, Lucas, so we'll let you get back to it. Best of luck for the sprint race, and we'll talk to you at
Thank
the end if
you.
you're up for it.
Yeah,
Good luck.
thank you.
Lucas Olsen there, number 20 for Gum Garage. Was driving for Fetch Gaming last time out, but I just had to double check. He's driving for Gum Garage this week. The race director's just getting the grid set in, so yeah, we'll have a little bit of a pause here before we get going for the roll-up lap at the start of the race. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back in just a couple of moments' time. Hello and welcome back to round number 2 of the NDR TBO Challenge 2020. We are moments away then from the start of the sprint race here. Let's quickly go over the combo that we are running today. We're at South City Chicane route, a 2.9 kilometer, 1.8 mile track with 5 real corners on it. A very long twisty start finish straight Yeah, we're about to start an 18-lap sprint race, and after that there'll be a 30-lap sprint race, the order of which will be set based on the winner's finishing time. So if the number is 1 to 5 inclusive, 5 will be added to that number to get the reverse. 6 through 9 will be taken as that number, and 0 will equal 10. So if the number is 0, then 10 people will be reversed. If it's 6 through 9, then that number will be reversed, and 1 to 5 you'll have 5 added to it. So starting on pole position for this race will be the FXO of Pauli Peltigangas, who will have Isaac Price alongside him, the current championship leader. Final preparations being made for the start of the roll-up lap. So Owen, the rundown's turn 1, ever important. We've got an FXO on the start line, on the pole position line. Notoriously difficult to get a good start in the FXO. Isaac Price in the XRT alongside him. What do you reckon? Do you reckon Isaac will be easily along in front before the start, before turn 1?
I would take a gamble and say yes. Like I'd say if he's on the outside, he could cut into the preferred line if he has the room, or else he can adjust and maybe switch back to the inside for the hairpin. But there's lots of space if you do need it. So I would gamble and say Isaac will lead this race in the first corner.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid bet. It all depends on how he starts. We have an XRT on the second row, and obviously the first RB4 is starting quite a way down, but we know how well they started last time. So expect Nika Pantola and Oscar Hardwick to make good gains off the start. Obviously they'll be a little bit compromised as they head into the first 2 little bit of twisty corners before turn 1. It's a bit of a pinch point there, but we are ready to go now. The drivers are readying up the grid for the beginning of the roll-up lap here for the start of race number 1. Here we are then, Owen, on the start line for the beginning of the sprint race here. All the cars lined up on the grid, waiting for those lights to go out for the start of this session. So this isn't the real start, this is the beginning of a roll-up lap. So all the drivers will now make their way off the grid to warm up their tyres for a lap. There goes Pauli Peltigangas, there goes Isaac Price, who we expect to do very well off the start. There's Nika Pantola in the green RB4 for Subaru, and all the other cars filtering in behind them.
and all the drivers want to figure out where the optimum line is through turn 1 and get some heat into the tyres.
Yeah, so Pally Peltikangas doing lots of tyre warming, leading the cars around on this warm-up lap. The two Chatty Sports drivers behind him, Isaac Price and Pavel Sina. So yeah, the start order has been somewhat changed a little bit because of the cars starting from the pit lane. We've got Michael Malik, Adam Brown, Andre Araujo in the pit lane at the moment. Just a reminder of the success ballast in operation here. Isaac Price with 20 kilograms, Pally Peltikangas who's on pole with 16 kilograms. Sean Lee's got 8 and Oscar Hardwick has 4 kilograms of success ballast. Moments away then from the start. Lots of tyre warming going on. Everyone opting to what I'm going to call for this season the Yoni Katila strategy of tyre warming.
Yeah, you can't show any leniency with these tires. You have to have them exactly the way you want. It has to be a Yanni Katila, then so be it.
As Pally Peltikangas then rolls up to his grid spot, and there are the cars at the end of the pit lane.
Such a nervous wait for those drivers.
We've got quite a lot of wind here. I'm not sure. Did you make a note of the amount of wind that we had at the beginning of the session?
It's about 22 kilometers an hour.
That's significant.
On start finish.
That's a significant amount of wind the drivers are going to have to contend with. So that's going to be a fun one. Just waiting for the cars to get into position. We've got a car reversing halfway down the grid. That's one of the Ford Rally Esports cars that's missed their start box a little bit.
I'm going to have to abort this. This is going to waste too much time. It's an entire mess. Going to affect 3/4 of the grid.
Okay, I'm not sure what's caused this. Drivers, all they had to do is remember what side of the grid that they pulled away from and pulled into that box. So it looks like Pally Peltikangas will lead the cars around for another start. This is an aborted start. The drivers will have to line up in the side of the grid that they pulled away from. So a little bit of a mishap there from some of the drivers. And yeah, let's try this again, guys. So a little bit of an unusual start to the race. Hopefully this doesn't affect the fuel. I'm guessing that we might lose a lap on the race, and this might end up being a 17-lap start, 17-lap race. Sorry. We will see. Pally Peltikangas with his engine off, saving fuel, or with his clutch in rather, I think.
Yeah, after the Chad Esports moment last week.
Yeah, last time out, Chad Esports had a bit of a moment with. There we go. The race duration has been reduced to 17 laps, so no fuel saving necessary. We will have a 17-lap race due to the aborted start. Some drivers still electing to save fuel on the run up to the grid. We're watching from the back of Pally Peltikangas' FXO here as Isaac Price follows along behind. Hopefully everybody chooses the correct side of the grid this time. It's looking better this time, eh, Owen?
Certainly does, Pete, yeah. Keep our fingers crossed.
A little bit of confusion still at the back. Come on, guys.
That's Mikhail Velikov out of position.
Okey-dokey, hopefully they can sort this out. In the driver briefing, maybe the drivers need to be reminded to remember what side of the grid that they started on before they do their roll-up lap.
Yeah, with those drivers in the pit lane as well, maybe they have to filter the way down.
Yeah, their tyres are going to be very, very cold. You have to feel for the drivers sat at the end of the pit lane. Not ideal for them. Looks like we're set to go racing, Eoin. The lights are waiting for us. Here come the red lights, and we're green for the start of the sprint race here. Great start by Isaac Price. A terrible start there from Pauli Peltikangas. Absolutely botched that start. He's dropping down the order. Nika Pantola with an amazing start up to P2 already, and already on the back
and
of
Hardwick as well.
Isaac Price. Yeah, Oscar Hardwick with another awesome start there, and Yoni Katilla up to P4. But look at Pauli Peltikangas. What a poor start that was. He's down in 7th place, and he's getting all sorts of trouble from Sean Lee and his teammate. So then, as we run down the freeway here, Yoni Katilla, all sorts of pressure from... not sure who that's with him. Is that...
2 by 2 in the battle for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, Pauli Peltikangas
Gonna be
under
okay.
attack there from Ayoub Al-Hanouni. Ayoub's going to be on the outside for the left-hander. Pauli's got the move ahead and a bit of contact there with one of the Chad Esports cars. That was Pavel Sina. Pavel following Yoni Katilla through the... Nika Pantola is... trying to get up to the back of Isaac as we head on to the start-finish straight for the second time. Yoni Katilla with a bit of a run on Oscar Hardwick, and further down there's some moves going on as Roger LeBlanc. We've got nearly a 3-wide, as that's one of the Gum Garage cars. That's Lucas Wilson, who we were talking to before the start of the race. Yeah, Isaac Price remains in the lead, a bit of contact with the wall. Nika Pantola following very closely behind as Oscar Hardwick throws the car in the wall, but he's still ahead of Yoni Katilla. And Yoni's going to be very close to him as we exit out onto the back straight now. Tucks in behind him.
The Subaru showed great pace on the start-finish straight without the ballast to worry about.
Here comes
He
Yoni
needs more
Katilla. Which way is he going to go? Is he going to... He's going to stay behind, or maybe he's going to try and send it around the outside. No, he decides to tuck back in. Nearly runs into the back of Oscar.
Oh, Oscar with a clip on the wall. He's going to be out of shape.
Yeah, Yoni can afford to...
actually done. He's done well there.
Yoni can afford to wait a little bit, but he can't afford to wait too long because he's got a train of FXOs waiting behind him now. Isaac Price out onto the home straight once again. Nika Pantola P2, followed by Oscar Hardwick and Yoni Katilla. Yoni Katilla, a little bit of a gap now to Oscar. Oscar got a good exit, a good run out of the final corner, and that's allowed Pavel Sina to catch up a little bit, but slightly out of the draft zone, you have to say, as Pauli Peltikangas drops from the pole position down to P6, so he's gained that place back on Ayoub. But yeah, Ayoub's still right there as we have some drivers clouting the wall. It is very difficult, and Ayoub getting all sorts of out of shape, well held, very screwy on the brakes. I'm amazed that he managed to get that slowed down in the end. Sean Lee must have been laughing a little bit there, as now Gabor is under attack from one of the race green cars. That's Daniel Balla in the green and grey FXO. They're side by side. And it looks like Daniel's ahead. It depends whether Gabor doesn't attack back the Sidus car there. Isaac Price with a bit of a lead opening up now. Oscar Hardwick also under attack still from those FXOs behind. He's got mirrors full of Yoni Katilla, Pavel Sina and Pauli Peltikangas. We know he's strong out of this final corner, and he is once again. Look at that. Great launch.
Well done.
All eyes on Yoni Katilla as we look back towards Pavel Sina for Chad Esports. He is trying to get in that slipstream. He's there. Does he have enough power to try and get past before the kinks? No, he's lifting. probably going to try it down into turn 1. A bit of a blast of the horn there, a little bit not enjoying following Eoin. Narrowly avoids the
Oh, what a
wall.
slide from
Tank
Cena.
slapper.
How did he hold that? That is incredible.
That was impressive. Yeah, Pauli Peltikangas not able to be in the draft of these guys ahead right now. Is Cena going to have another run at Eoin Katila? Eoin's going to go defensive, no doubt. Eoin goes to the right-hand side, a little bit defensive, yep. But it's line astern. We've got a car stuck in the pit entry. The virtual safety car has been called in 5 seconds. So the drivers will have to maintain position. They're not allowed to gain any time on the car ahead. No bunching up allowed during a virtual safety car. We'll see how they manage that. The pit entry is closed, so no drivers are allowed down the pit lane while this car is moved. So the race is effectively neutralised. It's not Daniel Ballot, it's David Ballot. There are 2 Ballas in this race. Dave Ballot stuck at the pit entry currently. Not sure how he's managed to do that, but there you go.
Yeah, he's just at the railway line. He's facing right against the wall, totally in the wrong direction.
Apparently Reg LeBlanc had spun at the rail line and there was some contact. I'm not sure what had happened. But
Oh, he's gone over the sort of protective barriers there. That's crazy.
yeah, Reg LeBlanc's car is absolutely ruined. Look at it. Not sure what's gone on with that. But pit entry's closed, so we won't be allowed to come down the pit lane to repair that car. So yeah, you can see that the cars have they're maintaining the gap. No bunching up allowed. Everyone doing a nice job of holding station. Obviously, there's going to be minor changes in the gaps, Owen, and I'll be interested to know when this virtual safety car ends. Hopefully, we don't have to wait
indeed.
too
It
long.
can't go on too long, Pete. Like Reg in particular, I don't want him to burn out his clutch. That would be a huge, huge disaster.
Pit entry is open, so any drivers are able to come into the pit lane. I'm sure Reg will be breathing a sigh of release. Green flag coming up. And we're green.
And there you go.
Isaac has bolted, and Nico Pantola likewise. Oscar Hardwick now resumes that defence on Eoin Katila. So a very successful virtual safety car period there. And I love watching the cars shoot through that chicane. It's always amazing when the cars are doing that flat out.
Yeah, it's really cool. Sean Lee gains position on El Hanui.
Great stuff. The 2
May have
XRTs.
lost it again.
Yeah, they're going to be side by side down the home straight. Take it away, Owen.
Yeah, so Sean on the outside of the kink. It's so close. Like they're showing a massive amount of respect. Sean narrowly misses the wall. The Singaporean has another chance, maybe, with the left-hand turn coming up, but he decides to merge behind. So not quite a successful venture there. And now into the right-hander, braking, bang on time. Oh, another wide.
Yeah,
It
Abe's
could
gone
be
very
side by
wide.
side again.
Contact. Still great stuff. Still
Yeah,
side by
but
side.
Who's going to blink first? You can't have 2 wide heading into this sector 2. That is incredibly risky. Yeah.
Fair
Good
play,
job,
Sean.
Ayub.
And that's allowed Daniel Ballot now to catch back up to the back of these 2. The 3 XRTs that are kind of some way off the front. 7th through 9th. Isaac Price leads the way still ahead of Nico Pantola and Oscar Hardwick. Oscar still under immense pressure from Eoin, but we know how good the RB4 is out of this final corner. Eoin needs to really nail that exit, and look at the train of FXOs behind him. This is fantastic stuff. Eoin's got a good run here. I wonder if he's going to go for it. He is.
May fancy it, but yeah.
He fancies it. This is going to be risky, side by side through here. Eoin
Oh,
lifts.
Widowers coming out of the pits. Oh, he got
Oh my
contact.
goodness me, Cena with an
no.
absolute send around the outside of them. There was huge contact and there's massive right side damage now on Cena. He saw the opportunity.
Oh,
Eoin Katila spun round.
It was nudged around. That's a real
And,
shame. Petkangas.
yeah, Vidoviarts has been held up there as well.
Yeah, Vidoviart's coming out of the pits.
Ooh,
Oh no.
that was a bit of a mess down into turn 1 there. Bit unfortunate, and yet again it's Yoni Katila who is the big loser from that situation. Pavel Sina with an absolute lunge. He saw Yoni Katila and Oscar Hardwick lift off and decided to send it anyway. Yoni got spun round by either Peltikangas or someone else that was involved in that battle. But anyway, Pavel Sina the big winner. Oscar Hardwick has only lost out on one position there. But another big gainer is this trio of XRTs, Owen. Look at them, they're up to P5, Ayub, Sean and Daniel Balla. P5, 6 and 7 apiece.
Yeah. Yeah, for a moment I thought El Hanui was in real trouble. But look how he's doing now. That's a big difference in just one lap.
Yeah, so let's see how Oscar Hardwick fares with the XRTs behind him now. The FXOs have destroyed themselves. So let's see if the XRTs can do it any better as Oscar hits the wall.
Wobbles. That's a major wobble.
And Ayub sends it, goes a bit deep. The RB4 will have a great exit,
No.
side by side.
It seems to be a problem for Ayub's car today. Just can't nail down the traction. But he's got the high speed.
Yeah, he's got the speed on the
this.
straight, so he's just able to drag ahead. And look at Sean Lee behind now. Sean Lee wanting to get in on this as well, but he's now got an RB4 between him and Ayub. Oscar loses another position, but that was a clean move. Good stuff from Ayub there. Made it a little bit difficult for himself by going deep in the first corner, but he managed to get the job done in the end anyway. Up to P4, one step off the podium for the Born to Race driver. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Bit of a train further back, Owen. We've got lots of duties for Last Lap Motorsports being pushed along a little bit by David Godge from Team Up Racing, and Yoni Katila's there as well, down in P17. So a big loss there from Katila having to stop. And my mistake, it wasn't Vidoviarts, it was Yari Katila who was the car that was trapped in behind Yoni. So both Katilas losing out a little bit there. Oh, and there's contact again from Yoni Katila. He was trying. He was alongside David Godge, and there was side-by-side contact. And now Yoni's dad's got past him. Yari streaks ahead. Don't often see that.
Car number 22 has a drive-through penalty.
Okay, so yeah.
Mikhail Velikov, we did comment before the race about that, and unfortunately it's against the rules. You have to take a penalty for that.
Yeah, I think that's because he caused the second roll-up lap. Yeah, he has to serve a penalty for that. It's only fair. It did cause some delay to the start. So Isaac Price on lap 9 of 17 here. One lap shorter because of the aborted start. Leads the way from Nika Pantola and Pavel Sina. We have an XRT, RB4 and FXO in the top 3 spots. Hearing from Race Control, Owen, that the race may be time limited.
That's an awful shame. With 8 minutes to go, did the calculations. 1 minute 15s at best. We're going to run out of time. But Daniel Balla has overtaken Peltikangas for 7th position. He had the best seat in the house when the 3-way battle began, and now he actually has a part to play in this battle.
Sean Lee, a little bit of contact there with the back of Oscar Hardwick, forced him a bit wide, more contact.
Oh, major contact.
Yeah, nearly spun Oscar round. That's going to hamper them both up this straight. It doesn't look like Daniel... No, Daniel has got a good run here.
Sean attempts to break the toe.
Yeah, he's going defensive.
Outside wall.
It was a little bit aggressive there from Sean. He didn't need to be that aggressive. He knew that the RB4, or he should have known that the RB4 would have a good launch down the back straight. He didn't need to be so aggressive on the inside there, and especially not with the contact as Daniel Balla clips the wall and Pauli Peltikangas around the outside. Great move.
Oh, the opportunism. That is
you have
really,
to take
really well
the opportunities where they arise around South City, don't you? I mean, they don't come along that often, and you do have to prey on mistakes of other drivers. But a great move there from Pauli Peltikangas, recovering to P7.
So back to the way we were previously, but now it's 7 minutes to go. You have to take your chances while you get them.
Absolutely. Pavel Sina with that right side damage. He's got away with that. He's got a big gap behind. It's not going to affect his race unless it forces him into a wall somewhere. But Ayub will be happy to have made it up to P4. Oscar a little bit. I'm guessing he'll be a little bit miffed that when Yoni went alongside him, Pavel kind of sent it through on all of them. Oscar left Yoni plenty of room. Yoni didn't have the confidence, lifted off around the critical left-hander before turn 1, and that kind of caused that bit of drama. As Sean Lee still unable to find a way around. And it's an all world-class lines affair at the back. We've got, that's Magic alongside, and actually Soini lets him through, the race green driver. The two world-class lines. Catilla's up ahead of these guys. Adam Brown not having a very strong race. He's down in P21 at the moment, trying to battle with Jeremiah Stanello, who hits the wall. Sorry, that's Fonceza, not Zanella. As there's yet more contact between these three drivers. Adam using his...
that's trouble.
Yeah.
Francesco is in real trouble. He's lost a ton of positions, and the car is damaged on the rear bumper.
Yeah, more contact into the wall.
Trace Sidair trying to get by as well. He makes contact in the kink, but it looks like it's calmed down at last. That's a real shame for Fonseca.
Yeah, real touring car stuff going on here, and Sean Lee and Pauli Peltikangas and Daniel Balla side by side. So it looks like Peltikangas has made inroads into this XRT squabble that's going on. Sean Lee at the lead of this trio at the moment. And they're all still catching up to the back of Oscar. I wonder whether Sean's made a mistake here, because Sean has dropped off the back of Oscar a little bit. So we head into the chicane one more time.
Yeah, Sean has gained a healthy amount of time since we last saw them.
Let's see what sort of run Peltikangas gets. Daniel Balla a bit wide there, but we know the XRT is strong on the straights, and you can just see how much it's pulling ahead of Pauli here. Remember that Pauli is running some success ballast, so he is slightly restricted, more restricted than those guys ahead, and you can see just how much of a gap that the XRTs ahead of him have managed to open up out of that final corner, across start finish and down to turn 1 again. But it all bunches up in the braking zone, and Peltikangas has got it very wrong. We're going to lose a lap because of the time limit. That's the word from race control. We'll have to keep you up to date with what's going on. But it does look like
Sean Lee senses a chance on the outside, heading into the next sector. Oh, he's going to hold it. Oh, brilliant. That is sensational. Well done, Sean.
Good move around the outside, and Oscar looks like he's under threat from Daniel Balla immediately.
And the group split into two again. Oscar is clear of Daniel. They're going to bunch up again very soon.
I wonder if Oscar's going to fancy a return move. He's in the slipstream. The XRT has the legs on the straight. Oscar, with that success ballast, is a little bit disadvantaged as well.
Oh, he's lost traction in the first left-hander, but he brakes very late. Oh, far too late. Oh, he's left the door wide open now for Balla.
And Peltikangas, yeah.
And Peltikangas, exactly.
That's what happens when you get your braking wrong into turn 1. It all goes wrong, and the unfortunate contact with Sean Lee, who's flashing his indicators in, well, frustration, I imagine. Not sure.
Oscar has to back out of it now. Sean Lee on his own. Pauli Peltikangas. Is he doing the same thing? He is, but...
we've got a safety car. We've got a car upside down in turn 3. Not sure who it is.
It's number 83. That's Sturgeon Plastrix for OKSGG Racing.
Alright, so yeah, we have a safety car.
Pulsatrix, I think I got that wrong. I apologise.
And it will be a safety car finish because we are on the final lap, Owen. So this race has been neutralised, unfortunately, in the final lap, as Isaac makes his way around to what will be a victory here in race number 1. As here's the cars that's upside down. Elmo, the course car, is directing traffic around that car. Nika Patola will take second place, well-deserved second place. It was all about his start. He made an absolutely sensational start to gain a load of places off the line. And Pavel Sina, on his first race of the TBO Challenge, will take his first podium in P3, pending any penalties, of course, for those drivers. Anyway, if we are going to see action like that in race 2, then bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a fine balance of driver strategies.
I am hearing from race control that we are going to have one extra lap again, because the leader was waved past the safety car by accident. So we will have one extra lap, and it will be a ceremonious lap to the line, because the safety car will be guiding the cars round. So there we go. Confirmation that we are now on the final lap once again. And the safety car has indeed picked up Isaac Price.
That should make conclusion of things, but definitely one version of each car on the podium, so the balance performance pays off.
Yeah, and this is interesting because the safety car is basically going to determine the reverse grid race. Isaac Price will cross the line, and because it's line astern, we won't see any tactics for reverse grid racing. So we'll have to see, where will Isaac Price start? Will he start in 6th or will he start down in 10th? It will be somewhere in between there, and we will find out in 3 corners time. As Stuart Baker, the pace car for the Turbo Challenge, leads the whole field around. Looks like the rest of the field have already still trying to catch up to those lead 3. That's how fast and far ahead they were. Looks like
Yeah, they had a very clean run.
He was only just left the chicane. Isaac's already weaving in celebration. Hopefully he doesn't drop the car.
No, I remember in NASCAR one time, I think Mark Martin pitted while it was a safety car, so he lost the race when he should have just kept going. So all he has to do is avoid a spin and he'll win.
Here come the cars across the start-finish line for the end of the sprint race. Congratulations to Isaac Price with a flawless lights to flag victory from P2. Nika Patola P2. And Pavel Sina P3. The cars will be guided around to pit lane and the race will be ended. The grid will be set for race number 2. And we'll do it all over again, Eoin.
Yeah, exactly, Pete. Certainly the drivers will have learned a lot through this first sprint race. But definitely there'll be a little bit of disappointment for the likes of Peltkangas. He was about to make an overtake stick. I think the safety car just came out. So people like him will be eager to get going all over again.
Still waiting for a few cars to come across the line, some stragglers. There they go. Jonathan Harp and President Vidoviarts, the final 2 across the line. So we have 32 finishers. Isaac Price from Nika Patola, Pavel Sina, Ayubel Hanouni, Sean Lee, Pauli Peltkangas, Daniel Balla, Oscar Hardwick, Chantaria and Gabor round out your top 10. Denis Velanov, Jared Mead, Multijutis, David Godge, Yoni and Yari Katila. Magic, Jeremiah Sanella, Timu Soini and Andrea Raujo rounding out the top 20. Jürgen Weber, Fonseza, Michael Malik, Jay Tressida, Sigistas Sakis, Simon Astalkovicius, Mikhail Velikov, Steve Martin, Lucas Wilson, Reg LeBlanc, Jonathan Harp and President Vidoviarts round out the 32 finishers for race number 1. And as you said, it was good to have an XRT RB4 FXO podium. Great to see all 3 cars represented there. And an FXO in 3rd place. Can you believe it?
Certainly unexpected. I would have thought that car would have the least of the benefits, whether it be straight line speed or cornering Pro S, but it looks like the FXO was able to hang on in there for Cena. and that's a very, very impressive job on debut.
Absolutely. What was the finishing time of the race? The leaders' finishing time?
28 minutes, 8 seconds, 0.51.
5-1. So there will be, I believe, 6 reversed, I think, for the start of race number 2. So Isaac will start down in 6th place, and we will have, so only 6 cars first. That's not a lot of cars.
Yeah, the initial fear factor of having to be on ballast, like I know Isaac was very confident he could manage, but being 6th for the reverse grid, I think he'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, I see no reason why he wouldn't be happy with that. Nika Patola will start 5th. Pavel Sina will start 4th. Ayubel Hanuni will start 3rd. Sean Lee will start 2nd. And Pauli Peltikangas will be on pole position again. I wonder whether he'll be happy with that or not.
Oh no, please no, you're probably saying.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. It looked like a bad reaction, Owen, because the other FXOs around him didn't get that bad of a start. So I wonder whether he's just going to have to take it a bit easier on the start and pay a bit more attention to the lights, maybe.
Yeah, I was on board for his start compared to Isaac or anyone behind. It's just very, very poor getaway. And I'd have to double check the replay if I get a chance. But it's just one you'd regret badly because he fell all the way down to about P7 in just one turn.
Yeah, Isaac will have Nika Pantola ahead of him in the RB4, so I expect that Nico will get a better start than Isaac. You'd think that would be the case. But Pavel Sina in the FXO, Isaac's teammate, he's not gonna get as good a start as those two. Ayubel Hanuni and Sean Lee, you'd have to say you'd back them to be ahead of Pauli Peltikangas before turn number 1, especially considering how Pauli's last race start was. So expect to see either Sean Lee or Ayub leading down into turn 1. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, certainly the other drivers will be keen to get a victory while they still have the opportunity. Could be Isaac Price-a-thon if they're not careful.
Absolutely. We'll take a break here from the NDR TBO Challenge 2020 while the drivers are gridded up for the start of the 30-lap feature race here for round 2. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a few minutes' time. Welcome back to New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge 2020 Round 2 from South City Chicane route. The grid has been set for the start of race number 2. I'm Peter Butcher and I'm joined by Eoin Harmon in the commentary box. You may hear the voice of Chris Ford appear during this race, but yeah, he's not here just yet. Eoin.
Yeah, hi Pete and hi audience, how you keeping?
We expect to see some fast starting XRTs down to turn 1 at the start of this race, and yeah, we want to see some action. Similar action to what we had in race 1 would be fantastic, please drivers, as long as you keep it clean. Thanks for joining us here on Sim Broadcasts for coverage of today's race. Just waiting on a couple of drivers to ready up. Looks like we have 35 drivers starting race 2. Another great grid and 30 laps of racing. Hopefully the drivers remember which side of the grid to line up on this time.
That's an easy mistake.
I'm sure everybody will remember what side of the grid to start on this time. Fingers crossed anyway. Belenov got a penalty for botching his side of the grid in the first race. No pit lane starters this time either. Pauli Peltikangas on pole.
Yeah, absolutely. The race green Autosports contingent will be strengthened by Jeff and Jacob making an appearance.
Yeah, Jeff and Jacob starting at the back of the grid for the feature race, which is good to see. Boosting some numbers. Here we go, Eoin. It was a little bit of a wait, but we're ready now. A couple of minutes delayed here for the start of race number 2. 30 laps of South City Chicane route in the TBOs. I can't wait.
Same here. Like, we have brilliant standards wherever you look down the grid. Hopefully they keep it up.
So the cars will pull away for the start of the feature race. 30 laps, as you can see. And the lights come on for the roll-up lap. And everybody pulls away. Just a reminder of the success ballast on play here. 20 kilos yet again for Isaac Price, Pauli Peltikangas with 16, Sean Lee with 8, and Oscar Hardwick with 4. Kike Paroppo not in attendance today. The rest of the drivers with the with no added mass to their cars, but they still have to run the mandated air intake restrictions for their car class, as Paddy Paltakangas does the Yoni Katila styled tyre warming up the back straight, with Sean Lee behind him this time, not Isaac Price. Isaac Price starting down in 6th place. Going into this round, Chad Esports led ahead of Team Siders and World Class Lions, with Isaac's result in race number 1 and Pavel Sina there high up as well. It looks like Chad Esports will retain that place. It doesn't look like Vitalis Lagutskas was racing with us here, Eoin, today. So a notable name missing from Chad Esports.
Yeah.
As Botsy rounds the final corner to line up on the grid on the right side. Everybody else should file in behind.
At a final moment of peace before we have the roar of engines in South City.
All the drivers taking up their positions on the grid. Jeffin Jacob will be the final car to pull up on the grid, the race green car there. Good to see Jeffin racing in the second race.
A little bit of organisation needed in the midfield, but it looks okay.
Yeah, just the final couple of drivers taking up their grid spots as we ride on board with one of the track cars, Elmo. And there we go, the final car in position on the grid. Here come the lights. 30 laps of South City chicane route in the TBOs coming right up. Red lights. And we're green for the start. A great start there from Sean Lee, as we expected, and Ayub Hanouni. And it's going to be side by side between Nico Pantola and Ayub as we go through the first kink. Nico with a great start once again, already up to P2, Owen.
Yeah, deja vu for Pauli. He's already lost the spot to Isaac. Head into the first right-hander now. Sean Lee defends the inside. Ayub Hanui is second. Oh, great getaway, but I think we've a red flag incident. Something has happened.
Huge crash at the back, apparently. Looks like quite a lot of damaged cars, especially Yari Katila, Jeffin Jacob with huge front damage. So yeah, an aborted start yet again. We're sorry we missed that on the screen. We were too focused up ahead, but it looks like Ayub Hanouni and Sean Lee got a great start as we expected. Sean will lead the cars around for to the red flag line where they will all pull up. Whereupon the race control will decide what is going to happen for the restart.
We need to get a notebook out. Some of the drivers will have visible exterior damage on their cars. It's just a matter of finding out exactly what happened.
There will be a full session restart, Owen, here.
Well, that's
which
good news.
will be good news for maybe Pauli, or maybe not for Isaac. Isaac got a fantastic start, and yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Completely fresh race will be is on order.
The red flag line is going to be designated there. The safety car stops exactly where it should, and we'll get things cracking all over again.
So stand by for a full restart. The cars will do a roll-up lap and we will go for a full restart. Just to confirm, there'll be no time limit. The 45 minutes will remain. So this is as if the first start never happened. As the cars pull away once again, hopefully we get a cleaner start at the back and as clean a start at the front. It was nice to see Nico getting a great start. Hopefully he can repeat that. Pauli, I think he just needs to point his car slightly towards the XRTs to cut them off, Eoin. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just exact deja vu. The getaway is so poor. He has to figure out a way to defend his inside line. Yeah, pointing the car more aggressively is certainly an option to him. Yeah, it's just the getaway. I think it's the problem. His reaction time was all right from what I saw, but sometimes in sports you get very infrequent but nevertheless helpful chances to fix your previous errors, so he gets a third opportunity.
So this is the fourth start tonight, Eoin. Hopefully they've got it down for round 3 and we don't have to have any more aborted starts for the rest of the season. In fairness to the drivers, that second start, that start to the second race was gridded just fine, but the incident down towards turn 1 is what caused the full restart.
Yeah, it's just with the drivers in front, they can't worry about what's going on anywhere down 10th or worse. Like, it's none of their business, but it's just a shame. We need to keep everybody safe and sensible, so we have to restart.
Here we go then for the start of race number 2, part 2. Hopefully of 2. Final cars just taking up their position on the grid. Some cars slightly out of position, but it looks like we're all ready to go at the front then. Here come the lights. We're green once again as Pauli Peltikangas pulls away and is immediately mugged by 3 cars, and Isaac Price already thinking of getting alongside. Isaac Price is alongside and he's ahead of Pauli Peltikangas again, or is he? No, he's not quite ahead. Sean Lee looks like he's taken over the lead from Ayub this time, and Nika Matola was the Chatty Sports car gets pushed wide. Cena gets pushed wide, but hopefully everyone through safely.
That looks pretty good this time. Subaru looked like he had a great start, same with Isaac, but a little bit more knowledge to the drivers in front meant they could keep their positions. And we head down now to the right-hand kink.
Yeah, Peltikangas crucially able to keep the car ahead of Isaac Price. Isaac has to tuck in behind, but he did make up a place off the start, did Isaac Price. He's up to 5th. But Sean Lee, as we expected, takes over the lead. Ayub in P2, Nika Pantola for Subaru in P3, Sidus is Pauli Peltikangas P4, and Chad Esports Isaac Price in P5. Oscar Hardwick pits, so he makes his pit stop straight away.
That could be a viable strategy if he can keep his fuel and tyres going to the end. But a safety car would certainly ruin that. Oh, Patola has made a mistake in the left-hander, and his traction lets him down. Pally Peltkangas tries the inside line, but his ability to pounce has failed as Matola regains down the motorway.
Yeah, the FXO just doesn't have the straight line speed with the restriction, and you can see that now. And I think Isaac Price might have a chance. No, Paddy Peltikangas has used that draft of the RB4 effectively to neutralise Isaac behind as the two XRTs ahead clear off, and Powley sends
Oh,
one.
Nico! Oh dear, that's another wide for him. Isaac will surely take his chance in the next lap with the start-finish straight.
Well, he needs to if he's going to try and make any inroads on the front guys. Remember that the guys up front have no ballast and the same car as him, so they have an advantage. Isaac with that 20 kilograms of success ballast on board. As we head down to the start-finish straight for the second time. And look at the RB4's speed on the straight. It's just Isaac's. He has to do it all under the brakes and in the corners. We know he's capable. As Sean Lee sets the pace, takes the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, just that little slide from Puntola. He has it under control now. But on the previous lap, it let him down horribly.
Yeah, further down the order, Ioni Cotillo with a good start, P14 right now. He's chasing down Gabor. As we've got a side-by-side battle between David Godge and Velenov. David Godge ahead in his XRT, should have the legs down the straight. Further ahead, Pavel Sina in P10, having to do some recovery work here. He's got Jared Mead up ahead of him, as well as Chanturia. Chanturia in the FXO there, leading the way.
Catilla with a bit of a slide, seems to have held it okay.
Sean Lee and Abe El Hanouni have got to focus now and pull away from these cars behind. Pally Peltkangas is looking racy. Nico Pantola is still holding up Isaac, but Isaac is now on the straight, which means he's at a bigger disadvantage to that RB4. It's a very long straight when you're driving an XRT with that ballast.
Yeah, certainly is.
But now look at Cena, he's lining up Jared Mead. I don't think he's going to go for a move into the twisties, but whether he goes for one into turn one remains to be seen, as Ioni Cotillo also side by side with Gabor, pulls in behind, probably smart.
And in the battle for the lead, Sean Lee has a bit of a deficit, but he's going to defend it on the inside line heading into the next turn. Oh, it's close, and there is contact.
Yeah,
there is definitely contact.
Kind of bullied Ayub into the wall a little bit there. These guys need to work together. They do not want to be holding each other up with that train of very fast cars behind. Sean completely within his rights to defend, of course, Owen, but yeah, he doesn't want to cause these two to crash out at all, especially not through that risky right-hander there.
No, the turn 4 is so quick, so deceiving. And if two cars are sideways there, it's just going to cause a major pileup, and we don't want that.
More action down the grid. Gabor is lining up the back of Velenov. There's contact actually, as Velenov doesn't give Gabor any room, and that's opened the door for Ioni Cotillo now. Cross start finish to gain another position. That will move him up to P13. Whether Gabor has a response down into the braking zone for turn 1. He goes to the outside, he's going to try it, brakes a little bit later. But Ioni has that covered.
Counting. No, that's not going to pay off. Straight behind is Magic. He has a potential run in the double slipstream, maybe.
I think those FXOs have just got a little bit too good of an exit for Magic there.
Yeah, that's true.
But Gabor's going for the attack around the outside. And there's yet more contact. And yeah, that's going to open up the door for that XRT. Magic decides not to get involved. Probably smart. And Cotillo has to drop back behind Gabor now. Because of that, it looks like Magic's under a little bit of pressure. So we've got a slow car there. Taukavicius has got a bit of damage on the front of his car. He's been into the back of someone. Tressida there in the RB4 on the right hand side. He's alongside President Bedoviarts as we head down to turn number 5. Side by
Yeah,
side.
side by side with OVRs.
But Oviarts has a nose ahead across the line. Tressida forced to the outside. Very wide. He's going to hit the wall if he's not careful. That's going to allow the Heroes of Racing car of Jürgen Weber to swing past. Nice pass there. Opportunistic. If you can get your car on the inside through that little kink and force the car out wide, you can really help your help the drivers behind there. As Jared Mead is battling hard with Pavel Cena.
Yeah, just gotta hold that slide as best you can.
Yeah, Pavel's pushing him along a bit. I'm sure Jared's not enjoying that as much as Pavel might think. And Pavel will have a bit of a run on him maybe. The XRT with the legs though, on the straight.
Yeah, it's Cena looking one way, and then the other just about. He's surely got the slipstream now, but he's backing down a bit as as Mead's XRT kicks into gear, and that should be a safe defense of the move. Yeah, just the slightest top speed advantage. That's all it takes.
He got a good exit, but Jared's slightly compromised line meant that Cena couldn't get on the power as early as he wanted to without making contact. And yeah, it's going to be tricky for him to get alongside with the power differences of these cars on the straight. But I think he's going to go for it. He moves to the right-hand side. Jared brakes late, but hits the wall, and that's what happens. And there's further contact with David Godge, and this concertina effect. Godge losing out there to Velenov. Velenov with a nice move, and he's all onto the back of Jared Mead now. And Catilla has made his way up to the back of David Godge. Yoni Catilla the younger.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Isaac's got past Nika Patola to P4. So Nika's had a bit of drama.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We didn't get to see what happened to the lead Subaru.
But yeah, it's getting close between Ayub and Botsy. Number 13, Pauli Peltikangas for Sidus Racing. But yeah, yet again, that XRT has the legs down these straights, and Sean Lee is taking full advantage of that right now. You have to say, Isaac Price is looking very strong. He's still keeping with these guys as we approach the third way through the race.
Velenov makes a little bit of a mistake in that turn 4 kink, but seems to have held on against that train of cars behind.
Yeah, he's got David Godge for TRR, he's got Yoni Catilla for World Class Lines, and Gabor for Sidus right there waiting to pounce on any mistakes that he makes. He's been lucky there actually to make the mistake in the middle of the lap where it's kind of single file. Yoni Catilla side by side now in the background with David Godge there. Bit of contact. But that XRT just has the legs on the straight, as I said before.
It looks like they're going to stay single file again. No risks felt necessary yet, especially with the extra time they've got to hand. Someone I've noticed is doing well is Jacob Jeffen. Started at the back, and now he's making a move for 22nd. Or is that defense against Tressida? It's neck and neck.
Tressida was further ahead than this, I think. It could be a defense. Let's see who. Yeah, Tressida's lifting.
Tressida, yeah, 22nd place for Jeffen. Well done.
Jacob Jeffen through. There we go as he hits the wall, Tressida. It looks like Ayub is really having to defend hard from Pauli Peltikangas now. Isaac just trying to keep on the back of that FXO. Pauli with 16 kilograms of ballast, Isaac with 20, Ayub with none, of course.
Oh, there's going to be a tap on the back just to say, I'm here, watch out.
Cena and Chanturia going at it. Cena on the inside of Chanturia then. Was in P10, he's made his way up to P8 now. He's alongside Chanturia. Chanturia with the nose ahead and actually brakes to let Cena through.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Some drivers know that if they are the ones who refuse to back down against the competitor, they'll get the blame for the championship order. Like, they don't want to take out someone who's doing very well in the championship.
Well, Cena has 0 points. He's new this round.
So that's very true.
Well, Chad Esports are winning, obviously, at the moment.
Yeah.
But you have to say that Sidus are looking strong. They've got 2 drivers up there. They've got Pauli Peltkangas and Gabor, but yeah, Chad Esports on aggregate will probably have more points out of this round if it finishes the way it is currently. Eoin Attila, yet more pressure from the XRT of David Godge. David Godge thinking about maybe going for a move. Nope, dabs the brakes. And it'll be single file through the kink. Eoin with a slightly wider line in, but carries more speed on the exit. Gabor seems to be a little bit trapped there. Yeah, he's down in 14th place, and he's got a bit of contact there from Andre Araujo for Energy Virtual Racing. Look at Isaac now. Isaac's got past Ayub. Ayub's had an absolute mess of a corner or a straight or something, because 2 cars have got past him now. Ayub was ahead of Pauli Peltkangas and Isaac Price, but now is defending from Nika Pantola. Pauli Peltkangas up to P2, and it's the job of Isaac Price to follow that Sidus car past Sean Lee now. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap times, Owen, to see what sort of times Pauli's doing compared to Sean. Isaac seems content to stick under the rear wing of that FXO Turbo.
Yeah. Nika Patola was giving Ayub a bit of a tap down the straight, just again for warning, to make sure he's aware of the presence, but he doesn't want to give up anything as of yet. We'll see if Nico does anything into the motorway merge. If anything happens.
Yeah, the XRT and the RB4 are quite balanced in terms of their top speed and acceleration on the straight. The FXO definitely seems to be that's where it struggles. The RB4 and XRT are strong at corner exit as well, so Nico's got his work cut out now if he wants to gain back some places, as we've got a back marker in the way of these guys now on the inside of the final corner. Moves out the way a little bit.
Jonathan Harp.
Yeah, Nico is now alongside Abe as a result. As we head under the flyover, and Abe's got to maybe think about yielding this, unless he's going to try and draw alongside up to turn number 1. No, he doesn't. He backs out. So Nico makes a place to P number 4.
Looking a bit further down, yes.
Jared Mead absolutely under pressure. He's got mirrors full of FXOs and angry Eoin Attila as they all funnel down into turn 1. David Godge alongside Velinov.
Yeah, Jared hasn't had a moment's peace, and it could be another headache.
Jared won't mind that. He'll be loving this. He loves a good scrap. He loves holding up FXOs.
Yeah, the FXOs run out of horsepower, so they'll reset into position again.
Yeah, Jared's had several trips into that wall on this race. So has Eoin, funnily enough. But neither of them hitting it this time around. Let's see if Eoin can make anything happen into the final corner. So difficult to follow another car through the chicane. You can just see how tight and twisty it is. But both drivers very skilled, very experienced, managing that no problem. Jared a little bit wide. Eoin will be able to draw up, but now it's the straight that XRT just will have the legs. And even though Eoin's right firmly in that slipstream, yeah, you're going to end up seeing that gap open up slightly. Ooh, but here he comes, deciding to bump draft the Angry Angus racing car instead of going for a move. Jared forced slightly wide, maybe wasn't expecting that much speed. Bit of contact there.
Another tap.
But yeah, Yoni just, he's going to have to prey on a mistake because Jared's driving very consistently at the moment. And but they're both pulling away from the cars behind now. Big gap now to David Godge. Huge gap, in fact, compared to how it was last lap. Wonder if we missed something there.
The distraction between those two battlers for Jared and Catilla meant the other drivers just couldn't catch up.
Delighted to say that I think we'll say hello to our friend and commentator Chris Ford. How are you there, Chris?
I am indeed. Which race is this?
Welcome to TBO Challenge Round 2 by New Dimension Racing, Chris.
Thank you.
I know you're
It's
being
been,
sarcastic, but there you go. I hope you're being sarcastic.
I must be race 2, but I know, and
Oh yes, race
Price
2.
is trying to get round for second positions is the first thing I managed to see, and there was a back marker in the way. Peltocancus hits the wall slightly as defence from Price, who's desperate to get past for second position, and I'm sorry, but I had to jump in.
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, good to have you with us for the second half of race 2. 15 laps to go after this one. Sean Lee's doing an absolutely stellar job out front, guys. That gap to Paolo Peltocangas is, if anything, it's opened up over the last few laps. He's doing everything he needs to do. The driver from Singapore, who's stunned us all a bit last week, he did not qualify well at all, and then had an absolutely brilliant second race. He's running some success ballast. He's got 4 kilograms on board that XRT, so he's doing a very good job to be out front with that disadvantage in his car. The 2 cars behind, Paolo Peltocangas and Isaac Price, also running success ballast. Paoli with 16 kilos and Isaac with 20. Look at how Isaac's trying to tuck into the back of Paoli's car there, but really struggling to get by.
Have a side-by-side battle for 12th position. We have Godge trying to get the position back. Raujo is watching in the distance. Gior has not quite made the move stick thanks to the weakness of the FXO's straight line speed, but now we've got a 4-way battle now. Jared Mead, the scrapper of the pack, having to defend yet again.
But this time from an XRT, which he might be more worried about. No pace advantage over that car on the straight, so it's a straight fight between those two now, and I think David's got a great exit. Jared's going to have to do some defensive stuff into turn 1 if he wants to keep this place. I don't think David's going to be going easy on him at all. Here he comes then. Some drag to the line. David lifts off. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he'll just try and hope that he gets a good run out of the second, out to the hairpin, to be honest. Pete, you know, he's going to go for it actually into the hairpin. I would have waited and got a good run out, because now they're both going to be under pressure from the FXO behind them. And also Mead will also have the draft down this long back straight, and it appears though Mead is pulled out a little bit early, I would say. Maybe he's not thinking about trying to go around the outside, and he's just placing his car in position so that he can maintain that 13th position as they get close, as the track narrows down into this right-hander at the bottom of the hill. Position gained.
Yep, good move from David there. Good stuff. As we've got more backmarker traffic, that's Scum Garage's Mr. Fetch, otherwise known as Lucas Wilson. Looks like President Vidoviarts is having some connection trouble. This is not good to see. Hopefully you can sort that out and continue. Isaac Price then still not able to get close or overtake Pauli Peltikangas' FXO, who goes offline once again to defend. And that gap to Sean Lee really isn't coming down, is it?
In fact, Lee is extending by around about a tenth of a second a lap at the moment
Yeah,
as these
this
two
is
battle.
really consistent driving from Sean Lee.
This is as close as Isaac Price has been, but his car just isn't as nice to drive through this last section of track, meaning that Peltikangas just manages to get away before this main straight, and then Isaac isn't quite close enough into the back straight. So that's the problem for Price at the moment, and it appears as though Nico Pantola has lost a position in his RB4. Yes, he has lost position. That must have happened. Was that on the back straight, you'd imagine, boys, for the battle for fourth position?
It was actually into the chicane, I think. Yeah, Chris.
That's an interesting pass.
Yeah. Nico just not able to get past. To retain that position. Ayub in the XRT pulling ahead and extending that gap quite quickly. That's impressive.
I see that Nico has baptized Eoin as a commentator with his number plate today.
Yeah, I'm part of the furniture now, guys.
Yeah, Eoin talked about that at the top of the show. It'll be your turn next week, Chris. Don't feel too jealous.
No, he's done some very rude number plates about me, so I'd rather he didn't do one about me again.
Okay. We've got a battle between Gabor and Mead again. This Jared's having all the fun today. He's had quite a lot of stream time. As Gabor draws alongside, Jared will have the legs on the straight. And look at that, Andre Araujo behind as well in the XRT might fancy getting stuck in this battle.
Ooh. Very close to as the track narrowed there. Mead has the inside line, but it'll be trickier for him to get down the inside. Can he push Gabor wide? He can't. Gabor comes back up for the tight hairpin.
Yeah, there was a bit of a rubbing affair on the entry into the next turn, but Gior is through.
Yeah, good stuff.
Tell you what, Pantolo's coming back up the inside for fourth at the moment into turn number 2. Can he get a good run out for the back straight in his RB4 four-wheel drive thing? I think he's going to get a good chance, boys, in the battle for fourth. Bala is catching them both.
Yeah, look at Nico here. He's going to have a run. He's lifting though. He doesn't fancy it. Is Nico a chicken?
He won't play Among Us, so he must be. I'm just waiting for the pig in Discord tonight when he hears that one.
Sean Lee Sean Lee's made a bit of an error somewhere. Is Jared pitting? Or what's he doing? Or is that one of the? That's Reg. He's letting the traffic through. My mistake. Yeah. So Isaac has dropped off a tad from the back of Pauli, but Pauli and Isaac are gradually catching the back of Sean. That gap's come down considerably over the last couple of laps.
Sean has had a shocking lap. He's lost 1.2 seconds on that last lap, so something must have happened. I wonder if there was back markers in the way, as Isaac gets very close to the back of Peltikangas. Again, he just defends immediately out the corner.
Yeah, this has been the line that Peltikangas has been taking the whole race to defend from Isaac. Just pulling over to the right to delay that slipstream effect, thus extending both their lines down to the next corner, which has been helping Sean by a tiny amount.
Yeah, there's just nothing Isaac can do really at the moment. The FXO is so much quicker through the chicane area. I wonder if Peltikangas can get at Sean Lee, because Lee, you'd imagine, will be having the same problem because he will have the same issues in the XRT that Isaac Price is trying to catch with. So, very interesting to see if he can catch what actually happened.
Oh no, Jared's had a nightmare. He's spun apparently. He's down to P17. So after leading a fantastic race, a great charge through the pack, defending and battling very cleanly with a bunch of cars, he's had a nightmare and has spun. He's down to P17.
I was also going to make a point further down the pack that Pulsaltrix has had an awful time the last couple of laps. Oscar Hardwick overtook him, and then Steve Martin as well, and his car is nursing a hefty amount of exterior damage. And with David Balla next behind, he's actually going to make a pit stop. So
Yeah.
bang on time there, couldn't spot him.
Yeah, I wonder why Oscar pitted when he did. Fuel?
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out after the race. It seems like he's not going to benefit from his early pit stop.
No, definitely not. As the leading trio then are closer than ever. Sean Lee for Air Attack News and Racing leads Pauli Peltikangas for Sidus, and then Isaac Price, who's dropped back a little bit. I noticed that Isaac didn't pull into Botsy's slipstream on this lap, which might explain why he's slightly further back. Didn't gain from the slipstreaming down the back straight on the last lap. Sean's got front right damage, so that explains what happened a couple of laps ago with his slightly poorer lap time.
I wonder if he clipped the wall on the chicane, maybe.
I don't think he would have got that much damage from anywhere else. Yeah, so good call. Probably on the entry to the chicane. Lucky that he didn't ricochet into any of the other walls and cause himself any more trouble. It's very easily done. Turn in a fraction too early or a fraction too late, it's all over. But he's doing everything he needs to do right now.
He's run wide in the chicane, though. He's run wide in the chicane. There's a good chance here. This is as close as Peltikangas has been. Can he get the better run out this final corner and challenge Sean Lee for the lead of this race? Again,
He's like
Lee got a
elects
good
to
run.
stay away, so it's Pauli Peltikangas. It's his decision where to go for lead.
Just seems as though Lee is just able to just have some kind of advantage when he needs it most. Price extremely close to the back there.
Yeah, Peltikangas defending again. Isaac not really using the slipstream much. He doesn't fancy it. And yeah, Sean Lee just doing everything he needs to do, just gradually keeping ahead as we have a new fastest lap of the race by Pavel Sina. He's on his own, so he hasn't got any traffic to contend with, any cars around him, so able to get in a good lap in his FXO there. And I wonder whether in the 7 laps we've got left, if he's able to catch up to the back of Nico Bentola and Daniel Balla, who have been getting closer and closer over the last few laps. Daniel's had a very strong race. This is turning out to be a brilliant season for Daniel Balla so far. If he can keep this up, this will be a very strong result. He's been catching Nico Bentola gradually over the last few laps, and I reckon he's got enough in hand to maybe have a go at him.
That's the time when you're in the race lead. Sean Lee produces his fastest ever lap of this competition. That's exactly what you want at this time. Cena again lowers the fastest lap to 1:14.80.
Nice
Yeah, Cena's
stuff.
2 seconds behind Daniel Balla. He'll certainly gain in a couple of laps if Nico can't speed up. There'll be a bit of a jam.
Yeah, so pit stops aren't required in this race, so I only assume that Oscar decided to, well, forgot to add more fuel to his car between the sprint and the feature race, which is a really critical mistake. Oscar all the way down outside the top 20 right now, and that's going to be a disaster for his championship.
Price hits the wall. Price hits the wall in the chicane. He drops back. He's very lucky he didn't double hit there. So that puts him a little bit further back from these two. And that could be a big opportunity gone for Price to attack in the last 5 laps.
It could be, because he was only able to follow Peltikangas for the start of this race. He hasn't been able to attack at all. And now he's so far out of the slipstream, Peltikangas has got to make good on his attack on Sean Lee.
Yeah, so we have 3 cars looking for P8. Mijwitas, Chantoria, and Catilla, all neck and neck down the start finish straight. The Georgian bedecked car has a slight advantage now, but is he going to go for the inside line? No, brakes quite early in fairness. And Catilla, oh,
Got
they're
him
going to
now,
bump
though.
each other. A bad exit for Mijwitas. And again, there's going to be a slight edge here. The XRT has the power. Oh, Catilla, a little bump.
Yeah, he's hampered himself there. He got a little bit
Yeah.
of unwanted netcode and has dropped back, so that's actually hurt him there. And yeah, Chantaria not able to. Oh goodness me, it's getting close.
Things that can only happen to Yoni Katia, I think. Netcode bouncing him back and the person he was trying to bump draft with. So I mean, things are going up to, as he goes for the inside move now. That's surely a little bit
Yeah,
ambitious.
Chantaria was good there. He left him the space.
Oh, he pushed him into the wall though.
He sights
Chantaria
him
against the
out.
wall.
Well done, Yoni. Just
Yeah.
need to hang on to the inside now.
Martajutis has decided to check out ahead. Look at that gap.
Oh,
it's
look
just...
at this at the front though. Price, having made that error, has caught right up with the fastest lap of the race of 114.78, and now he's right back with them. But again, there's nothing he can do with it. It just appears as though there's nothing he can really do to get second and then challenge for the lead. You get the feeling that the XRT might be in a better position to take the lead from Lee if he could get past second place, because it doesn't feel as though the FXO has the natural pace to be able to challenge Lee at the moment, boys.
I'm grinning from ear to ear because yet again, in the dying laps of the NDR TBO challenge, we've got a battle for the lead on 3 laps to go. Awesome stuff. Sean Lee for Air Attack Newsroom, leading from Silas's Peldy Peltikangas, and Isaac Price for Chad Esports.
By chance.
Sean's going defensive. Oh, he's looking too much in his rearview mirrors now. He's getting psyched out by that big pink FXO with the finish flag on the roof. What can Botsy do in these last few laps? It looks like Isaac's got a bit of a run as well. He's catching up now. That slipstream effect is coming good. And it's all come down to this. The 3 drivers at the front, all running success ballasts of various degrees. Isaac with 20, Powley with 16, and Sean with 4 kilograms.
That's as close as Peltikangas has been out of the corner, but again, Lee will have the advantage down the straight. He doesn't need to
He's
weave.
weaving. This
You
is
don't need
bad.
to
He's
weave.
giving up
That
time
is
here.
very, very risky.
Yeah. And Isaac's just playing it cool. He's keeping it straight, and he's going to be closer than ever to Botsy come the next couple of corners. This is mad stuff.
Isaac with the mental advantages. He won the first race, and Powley finished 6th. That's one of those things. If he loses one position to him in this feature, it's not the end of the world.
Very, very close. Look at this. They haven't been this close at all
whole
in this race.
Nope.
Peltikangas surely has a good run now, but he will lose speed down the straight. He needs to be right there, and that's exactly where he is right now. Price just holding and watching brief. Lee holds the lead. He doesn't need to do his weaving thing again. There's no real way past into
He's
turn
gone
one.
wide again. He's just compromising his line here.
It's turn 2 he needs to be defending. But he's decided to defend 1 for no reason again, but he's got back on line. Peltikangas wasn't close enough, but Peltikangas has a great run. He's going to go to the inside line, and this is surely the end now for Lee's defensive driving. Oh, they make
No!
Peltikangas goes running wide. He outbraked himself and caught the front of Sean Lee. Now Isaac Price is right there. And as we were saying, Price just watching, having a watching brief. He's right behind Sean Lee. Which way will Lee defend? He defends the inside line. That leaves Price the outside line. That'll be difficult to go around there in an XRT with the way that the rear handles. Very close to the wall again there, Isaac Price. I don't think he's going to quite get this job done here. He doesn't, but he goes for the inside line, touches the back of Lee. Lee continues to lead down toward the chicane section.
This is letting Powley catch back up. This isn't over between these 3. Isaac is fired up. He's been so patient this race, and now he just wants to get past Sean before Powley catches back up. With 1 lap left in this race, Sean Lee has led this race from turn 1, but now it's all come unstuck. Isaac is right there, and we know how strong he is. Sean going defensive yet again. Isaac holding strong on his normal line.
It's an improvement. They're neck and neck. Isaac slipstream effect coming now.
Isaac's lifting. He's biding his time. He doesn't need to worry about Peltikangas behind. He knows that Peltikangas is slow on the straight.
This is it. Oh, the outside line shuts.
Sean's
And
defending
defends.
perfect there.
I think he's got a good chance this time, though. I think he's a lot closer than he was last time. He just went for that little run to the inside line, trying to get the switch under. But Lee holds the inside line again. So will Price brave it out round the outside? I'm not sure he will, but let's see. It is the final lap of the race. He's right underneath John Lee's wing, but he's not as close as he was last time. And he had to back out last time. Will he go for the dive down the inside? No. And Lee holds them off again into the chicane. Is it going to be his race now? With just a few corners to go. They come up on the yellow flag. What's going on in front of the chicane? This could be disastrous for the leaders, but it feels as though it's been cleared. Lee has got a better run through the chicane, and I think he's going to take this, boys.
Last corner to go, 50-meter line to break.
Sean has one more corner to navigate, and it looks like he's done it. Sean Lee, what a defensive drive. He goes defensive one more time, and so does Isaac. Pauli Peltikangas is right there, but Sean has done everything he needed to do that race. What a drive from the Singapore driver. Got a great start to overtake Peltikangas and Ayub off the line. Did everything he needed to do, and Sean Lee wins the feature race in the NDR Turbo Challenge Round 2. What a stunning drive there from Sean Lee, and don't take anything away from Isaac Price. He drove from 6th on the grid to fighting for the lead on the last lap. Yet again, Isaac Price with a stellar drive. Pauli Peltikangas probably thinking that this was a race that could have been. He started from pole position in race 1 and race 2, finished race 1 in P6, and has to settle for the last step on the podium here in race number 2. Chris and Eoin, what a treat that was.
Oh, certainly. We were really impressed with those lead drivers. Excellent work. And the drivers behind Hanui, Puntola, Bala, they were excellent as well.
Yeah,
well done to
fantastic
everybody.
battles up and
Well
down
done.
the field. I second that. Here. Wow. And there's still drivers crossing the line.
Incredible. Yeah, that was an incredible finish, to be honest. I cannot believe that Sean Lee held that for that entire race. He only obviously made one tiny little error that ended up not costing him. He lost a second, but that was because he had a good second lead at that point, and that just brought them back. But he held them, and he held them well.
Yeah, Sean is going to be absolutely ecstatic. I'm pretty sure he's going to come for an interview as well, so it'd be great to talk to him. His maiden victory in the Turbo Challenge. Very impressive drive from Sean. Best I've seen him drive, I think. As the 3 podium drivers line up now on the start-finish line. Sean in the middle there, Isaac to his left, and Pauli Peltikangas to his right. I wonder what Pauli's thinking right now with that.
I think he locked up and just sort of drifted into Sean Lee. He had the opportunity, but I think it would be very hard on that shallow line, despite the FXO, to be able to maintain the lead. I think Lee would have had a good run at him down the back straight, but he just sort of locked up and just sort of clipped the front of Sean Lee's car, and that speared him off to the left-hand side, and very unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll wait to see who we get to talk to. Let's have a chat with Lucas Wilson to begin with. Lucas, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, another race day that potentially you might want to forget. I don't know whether I'm being too harsh, but let's have a think about your race. P29 in this one. How did your race go?
All right. Besides feeling like I was hauling an elephant around the track after my steering wheel, because basically when I had some contact, my steering just felt really heavy. Like it just always felt like it was pushing to the right, and it was just trying to keep it centered and stuff. It just felt like it was healing an elephant or something. So tried to keep it on the track. So I decided to hop into the pits and just get a repair, because if I kept going with that, my arms would have just been dead. So I just decided to come in. Even though I was just getting blue flagged, I just kept going, never gave up, because you saw people just kept retiring, and that just promoted me places. And, at the end of it, P29. And I don't really care where I come. I just come here to have some fun, do a bit of racing, and enjoyed it. But, obviously results is a bonus for me. But, yeah, I just enjoyed the race. But obviously getting a better position would have been ideal.
Well, it's all experience, and you can always build on this for next time.
True.
Yeah, so next time out we are at the streets of Blackwood. Blackwood GP reversed on the 8th of November, so not that long to wait for round number 3. Are you looking forward to that one?
Well, it's not the same car as the Open Endurance race cars that I got 5th place in, and plus that is endurance racing as well. But because I know the track layout, I kind of know what it is. I think just trying to adapt to the skills into this car shouldn't take me long at all. And just judging by how talented the pack is at the moment, it might be a challenging one, but hopefully where I won't be at the back for pretty much 80% of the race.
Well, we look forward to seeing you in round number 3. Thanks a lot for joining us, Lucas, and best
No
of luck
problem.
in the future rounds of the season.
Thank you, Pete.
Let's have a chat to race winner from race number 1 and P2 in race number 2, Isaac Price. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, let's leave this to you to talk us through your first race and second race. It was awesome to watch that finish in race 2. But let's start with race 1. How did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, race 1 was kind of quite similar to race 1 from West Hill, to be honest. Kind of got into the lead at the start and just controlled it the whole way, pretty much. Like, it was pretty routine. Obviously, the VSC was something new. I've never had a VSC before, so that was interesting. But for the most part, it was kind of just controlling it and not making any silly mistakes, which is obviously quite easy to do here with the walls and stuff. Nico was able to stay quite close for the first few laps until the RB4's temps went too high to keep a good pace. So, yeah, had to stay a bit concentrated, but it was pretty routine and straightforward.
Yeah, talk us through that final couple of laps of race 2. When Pauli Peltikangas and Sean Lee came together at turn 1, what was going through your head there?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've been right on the gearbox of Paulie the whole race, and yeah, it was kind of just waiting for the opportunity. And obviously, as we were catching up to Sean, I knew that it was going to get a bit desperate, because obviously it's a huge deal for Sean to win a race, so he was always going to defend it as hard as he could. Yeah, so I was just kind of trying to pick up the pieces, really, stay as close as I could and take advantage. And I was able to get past Botsy in that melee, but yeah, I couldn't find a way past Sean. He placed his car in the right place the whole way through, and yeah, he never overshot the braking or anything like that, so it was impossible to pass. He did a great job.
He really did. I think it's one of the best drivers I've seen Sean do to date, to be honest. He's one of those drivers who's really improving, using mouse and around here in the XRT. Full credit to the guy, and full credit to you. Well done once again. You had the 20 kilos of success ballast. How do you feel that affected the car compared to the drivers around you? Obviously, Pauli had 16 and Sean had 4. Talk us through that a little bit.
To drive, it doesn't really make any difference. It seems like it's a couple of tenths slower, but the main difference it seems to make is on the top speed. Like, you don't have as much top speed, because when I was racing like other FXOs, they were just as fast as me on the straight. But then when I was behind Botsy, he was like losing 1.5 tenths to me on the straight. So obviously he was too quick through the corners to be able to stay close enough to take advantage. But yeah, it seems to make a difference from a racing perspective, because it makes it harder to get a run on someone and pass them. You have to kind of be a little bit more opportunistic, I think. But yeah, it's not too bad. Obviously, it's a short lap, so 2 tenths can make quite a big difference around here. You know, you add it up over 30 laps, and it's 6 seconds. So, yeah.
Thanks for that, Isaac. Let's chat to Nova, who managed to hold you off for the end of that race. Hi, Nova, are you there? Nova currently with his microphone muted. Give him a couple of moments.
I can hear him talk.
Hi, Nova.
But...
Sorry,
Yeah, I can hear
that
him.
was my mistake.
Yeah.
I've got you now. Nova, talk us through that second race first. That was a really, really, really nice defence.
Yeah, I can't believe it actually. A win is like a dream for me among like the pack, especially at the front. It's really really competitive, and Pakupanas and sorry I can't pronounce that name, and Price gave me a run for my money, especially when I made a small error at the chicane, clipped the wall, and I thought, oh shit, it's all over. Yeah, I came under pressure for the final 5 laps. They tried to attack me. I think a little bit of contact due to a dive. Could have given me a bit more room, I guess. But then the final lap was under pressure from Price, and I just tried to place my car make it as big as possible, and I guess it worked out. He couldn't find a way past, and I just made sure I got out of the chicane as cleanly as possible. And yeah, I still can't believe it. First place.
Well, yeah, I think I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised that you managed to keep it ahead of the charge behind. I thought you'd crumble under the pressure, but you proved me wrong. It was a brilliant drive, Sean. Really good. I think it's the best I've seen you drive in recent times, so you must be really happy with that, and you should be, because it was a brilliant race.
Yeah, and I think this one goes out to, of course, to you guys at NDR. I think you guys loved it at the top when you were looking at this. And as well, credits to Price. I think this setup, he passed it over to me just before the race. I didn't have a setup. So it was literally like the first round where I had to tread water for the first time. So it was kind of a bit shabby for the first race. But the second race, I managed to up my pace a bit.
Well, with the class of this field today, you did a fantastic job to hold off Isaac at the end there. And looking forward to the next race, you'll have a bit more success ballast, I reckon. So how do you think that's going to fare in the XRT, you two, around Blackwood? I'll ask Isaac that first.
Well, I mean, I'm not 100% sure whether the success ballast stays as it is, or whether, like, I know that it's possible that it'll get amended for each round.
Possibly,
So yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly how much we'll have. I imagine it'll be quite similar to here, but yeah, obviously if it costs us top speed, then it'll make our lives really hard to get any overtaking done, because obviously there's a huge straight at Blackwood, and that's pretty much the only place you can overtake. So yeah, should be a lot of fun. I think the success ballast works quite well. It makes the overtakes and makes the racing a little bit harder. I think if there was no success ballast, me and Paulie would probably have got through a little bit easier, and it was quite good that we had to work for it, and all the overtakes were quite tricky and opportunistic rather than just easy overtakes because of pace. So yeah. I really enjoyed it.
And you, Nova, how do you think, well, obviously you don't know how much you're going to have, but do you reckon it's going to, because you're going to have more in the next race, how do you think that's going to affect your pace going forward?
Yeah, I think it will play a little bit of disruption, because over here I couldn't really feel it, but if let's say I have like something like 20 at Blackwood, it will make the faster corners a bit harder to. It will make the faster corners a bit hard to get out of, but I guess we could play around with the setup a bit, because Blackwood, it really is only the exit for the final corner and the first corner. So perhaps you could put the ballast in a way, get to 8 with the rear catch. I'm not sure, but for sure we'll see what we can do in the next race, and hopefully it will be as good as this one.
We hope so too. Thank you, Isaac, and thank you, Nova, for putting on a great race. It was really awesome, and thanks for the interview. Best of luck next week. We hope to see you then. Joining us in the commentary box now is Michael Malak, who finished in P12. Hi, Michael.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How was your race? How did you enjoy it? Tell us about your race further down. We didn't see too much of you.
Well, if I start from the very beginning, it started quite terribly because of the summertime change. I pretty much failed to attend the pre-qualifying session, so because of that I was forced to start from the pit line, so it was quite a bad thing to do, but I had some really good battles through the field and managed to finish the first race pretty much undamaged in P23. Then, of course, the first start of the second race, there was a huge crash in turn 1, which I managed to survive and come out in P15. Unfortunately for me, it was restarted completely. But at the second iteration, it was quite good. There weren't many battles for me, but it was quite consistent, and I was slowly gaining places until the pretty much last lap, where I managed to catch with Mr. Gods, who, after the race, I found out he was running out of fuel. And the funny thing is that I managed to pass him about 5 meters from the line, and I finished 6 or 7 hundredths of a second ahead. So that was quite a funny moment for me. And of course, P12 after starting from a pit lane at the beginning is a huge achievement. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Well, yeah, considering you started from the pit lane and managed to get up through the order to P12, that's a good effort. Thank you very much, Michael. How are you looking forward to Blackwood? Sorry, in a few weeks' time.
Well, yeah, I'm excited. I have to find out some good setup because I don't think I have any, but I expect good racing as always. And of course, I hope everybody will have fun and it will be racing clean and clear.
Yeah, a little bit more open than South City, it has to be said. The run down to turn 1 will be a bit difficult, especially considering we're doing Blackwood in the reverse direction. So you've got the crest and then the tight right-hander. Probably better than the hairpin, though, you have to say.
Well, definitely. No, I'm not sure. Is the Blackwood with or without chicane?
It's Blackwood GP, so it's with the final chicane.
Damn it. Well, I still think it will be much easier track to race on than the South City, so yeah, I think there shouldn't be any safety cars unless somebody does a really bad job. So yeah, it will be all about doing good on track, and we will see.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael. Congrats on a good result in race 2. Just remember the time zone change for next time, and hopefully you can make pre-qualifying if there is one.
I hope so.
Best of luck at Blackwood. Cheers, Michael. So, Chris, Eoin, thoughts on the racing this evening? I think it was super. I think everyone out there would agree that final few laps between Pauli, Sean and Isaac is one we won't forget in a hurry.
Nope, certainly not. That's the only laps I saw, so they were great, and there was no boring moments in this race for me. It's a great combination. This is a great track, and I think Blackwood have been better because these cars again at Blackwood is a pretty spectacular racing experience. So let's see how it goes there. I assume that again the XRT should be slightly ahead, but we'll wait and see. I think it's been very open competition so far. Nobody's really running away and hiding in every single race or cruising through as you have seen in other series from when they were had the reverse grids. So yeah, it's very interesting so far, and I look forward to the next race in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, and I'll say that the drivers managed the tricky challenge of South City very well. When the drivers did make a mistake, particularly heading into turn 4 with the downhill crest, they managed to keep calm. There was no over aggression where they take a competitor just to spare their own blushes. The battle at the front will go down in TBO history. It was absolutely stupendous, and a lot of the drivers down the middle of the pack were also very strong, and I hope Blackwood treats them even better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Eoin, for joining me. Thank you to the NDR crew for putting on the TBO challenge and inviting us along to stream it. It's been great fun. You can join us for round number 3 in a couple of weeks' time. That takes place on Sunday, the 8th of November from 3 o'clock UTC at Blackwood GP Reversed. We hope you can join us then. In the meantime, the recording of this race will go up on YouTube for all the drivers who want to watch it back. You can watch it on our Twitch channel as well afterwards. If you want to keep up to date with what we're putting out over the next few weeks, then please follow along on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us there. You can follow us and subscribe to us on Twitch. And you can like and follow all of our social media pages as well on Facebook and Twitter. We really appreciate your support, so please go ahead and do all the good stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Chris, Eoin, all the NDR team, our pace cars, our stewards, all of the racers and all of you viewers. We're really great to have you along. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. And yeah, see you in a couple of weeks' time. Good night.